Good morning, afternoon, evening, bumpers. LB's here. I'm just going to do a quick little video. I'm going to run through the demo talent tree options in Dragonflight, plus the class tree as well. Just basically run through building a talent tree, talking about the reason why I picked these options. So let's just get an empty one right here. So let's start with the class tree. And the good thing about the class tree is there's not many choices which actually give you damage, which I know sounds bad, but it kind of means we've got a lot of free choice. So you can customize it quite a lot, and there's as long as you get the core talents, which actually increase your damage, like this, Soul Conduit, Grimrar Synergy. This, I mean, the gaze doesn't do much, but it's just passive damage. But apart from that, there's no. The rest of the choices are all kind of personal choice. Now, to start off with, everyone's going to be wanting taking Demon Skin, Fell Armor, you want Mortal Coil, you want this, and that. And that's kind of the core, the way to start. Now, we've already broken we've already spent the amount of points we need to get lower down the tree, but we're actually going to grab Feldon, because fuck casting your pet for 5.5 seconds. It's not about that life, so need to take that. And we're actually going to take Burning Rush, which we haven't ran all expansion, because, well, we haven't really needed to, and it's been on the same talent row as Dark Pact, so you're kind of trolling if you're not taking Dark Pact. So now we're losing Soul Shape, we're going to want this, and plus this extra talent here, I personally think buffs it up quite a bit. If you take 2 points, then you're actually only dealing 2% your health every second rather than 4, so you can kind of leave it on for a while without any real kind of consequences, and it's an extra 10% movement speed, so it's quite a nice toggleable ability to add on. So yeah, moving on from there, we then want to want a gateway. I'm sure there's probably some fights where you don't need a gateway, but there we go. Sorry about that. It's really fucking loud. Okay. Right, back to that. So there's probably some fights where you don't need a dominant gateway, but I think you may as well take it, because it's a pretty good default option to take. And then now this is where it gets quite interesting, because Unending Resolve has actually been nerfed from Shadowlands, so it was 40% DR on a 3-minute cooldown, and it got nerfed to 25%. So this 15% talent node just basically makes it the same as what it was, or you can lower the cooldown by 45 seconds, so that would be down to 2 minutes 15. Now, this one, I'm not entirely sure which one's actually going to be best. I reckon it's better to have a 40% DR than to 25% DR, rather than having the lower cooldown. You don't really need the lower cooldown because you've got Dark Pact, and then also you have Mortal Coil as well. And I mean, you've got Soul Link, Soul Leech, you've got a lot of survive vinces, so I think you'd much rather have the 40% DR ready for when you need it, you know, when you're raiding, when you're raiding it calls out. Okay, you're popping your defensives at 2 minutes 20, let's say. That's when you want to be popping on any resolve, and you know, you're not going to die. You're a Warlock, we're really fucking tanky. So we'll take that node. We'll also get this one. This basically just unlocks Soul Link. This is just better than that, because we're not really going to be casting Drain Life as a Devo Warlock. If you're playing Affliction, then you probably will be Drain Life a bit more if you're taking the inevitable Demise talent, but for Destro and Demo, this talent does nothing, so you'll want to take this one, which gives you a bit of leech. It is what it is, but it just means you can go further down there. Right, so next talent point, Shadow Fury, I think is going to be, it would kind of feel weird not having Shadow Fury. There's a lot of fights where you probably won't need it, especially in raid, but it's a kind of, I mean, you can take Banish instead, but I like having Shadow Fury. I'm kind of used to having all my bars, so it kind of feel weird not having all my bars. And then, so back up here, so we're back up here. Definitely want this talent. This talent is very strong, and it's basically going to heal you for 10% of your health whenever someone uses the health stone in your party or raid. So in a mythic raid, there's 19 other people. When they pop that, all it takes is half the raid, and you're healed, and that's a lay on hands. This is just a great kind of passive. I mean, even the your health stone healing you for an additional 10% of your max health as well is really good. So it'll be a 35% heal rather than 25%. Okay, so obviously you definitely want Dark Pact, and then this is another contentious option. I think if you can make use out of the lower cooldown, if you're actively, like, you know when the damage is coming and you can use it a lot, I think this is going to be your best option. I think it's a kind of default passive where if you don't know exactly, you don't know the fight just yet, this might be your better option. So we'll go with this one for now. Right, so now we're going into the bottom lane. We only have 9 points left, but that's okay because there's not too much to grab from here. Most of the good stuff is at the top and in the middle. So we get Soul Link. This has been nerfed by, well, this used to be a demo only, well, passive, and it used to be 20%, so it's now 10%, but everyone gets it. But then you've got this talent that buffs it back up to 20% when you're below 35%. So it's quite a decent addition. Right, so Soul Conduit and Grimryle Synergy, and then Inquisitor's Gaze. They're the big kind of damage nodes you can take in the class tree. This one, it was a Lego in Shadowlands, but it's just kind of passive. It's just going to be proccing, good damage buff. Soul Conduits, very nice to have. It can be a bit weird if you're kind of used to not playing with Soul Conduit. So sometimes you can, let's say, you can spend 2 soul shards on summoning your dogs, and then both of them get refunded, which can be a bit fiddly, but it's a nice damage buff to have. And then last point, we're going to take this, just because it's more survivability. Honestly, we're not going to be dying in raid. We're so fucking tanky. We can stand in fucking shit. Like, if there's a mechanic coming and you know you're going to survive, but you don't want to lower your DPS, fucking stand in that fire. Just pop your Dark Pack before whatever, Mortal Core, whatever you got, and you're not going to die. I reckon you could have Burning Rush on for the whole fight. You're not going to fucking die. The healers will keep you topped up. But anyway, I'm kind of trolling. But yeah, so that's the that's my personal opinion for that's my kind of standard Warlock class tree that I'm going to be running as demo and also as Destro. The only kind of options, in M+, you can probably take a point out of there and add it into Banish, because Banish is quite a useful ability. I mean, it wasn't used in every dungeon in Shadowlands, but in the cases it could be used, it's very useful. So you can take a point out of that, go in there. But that's the nice thing. There's a lot of choice, and you can kind of tailor the talent tree to kind of suit your own needs. Right, so let's open up Demo's Single Target here. Right. So there's been some big changes recently to Imp Gang Boss, and this before this talent tree was, I mean, you were only kind of taking it to get to Nether Portal. It was pretty meh, whatever. But now it's fucking huge, especially in AoE. But single target, this is what my single target build is looking like. The main talent points you're picking up are From the Shadows, Dread Calling. This is the 2 set from before. So your dogs, they're going to be chomping hard. And Carnivorous Stalker is the conduit from Shadowlands. Your dogs, they should be top of your damage. They're going to be absolutely blasting. There's so many talents which just buff them. There's another one there, this one as well. Right, so the core kind of single target build. We're playing Tyrant. At the moment, Reign of Tyranny's pretty undertuned. And because a lot of your damage is now coming from your dogs, even just your base Felguard, it's slapping now. You've got talents like this and this, where your Felguard is actually doing a lot of damage. Your Felstorm is doing crazy damage even in single targets. It's kind of nuts. So, Reign of Tyranny at the moment, the way it is, sadly, big Tyrants, they're no more. So I personally think just having the extra Tyrant, and the extra Extend on all of your pets is going to be much better than Reign of Tyranny. But, I mean, all could change. It would be kind of fun to have Reign of Tyranny really strong. So we have the kind of big Tyrant at the moment, but your big Tyrant has now become big Pit Lord. So with Nether Portal, this talent, we never played it before, but now we have the option of playing Nether Portal with, you know, well, not Reign of Tyranny, but we can play Nether Portal with Tyrant build. So basically, you got your big 3-minute cooldown. So what you want to do is you pop Nether Portal, then proceed to do your standard Tyrant ramp, and then you kind of cast the Tyrant maybe 4 seconds left, and then just spam out 2 Hand of cooldowns at the end. And so this talent, you get loads of extra demons coming out whenever you're spending soul shards, and then at the end of it, you get the big daddy, the Pit Lord. This guy is going to be fucking slapping, especially if you know, during Lust, when we can actually we can summon. You know, we'll definitely be having at least 20 demons out, so it'll be a fully juiced up Pit Lord, and you know, even us getting PI on us, it'll give the Pit Lord the attack speed as well, and Pit Lord is going to be fucking slapping. So demos, it's looking pretty good in single target. The kind of playstyle hasn't changed too much from Shadowlands, so you should still feel familiar. Well, we got Vile Fiend back, which is nice because we ran from the shadows from when we got the tier set in 9.2. So you got Vile Fiend back again. It's a 45-second cooldown, but you'll be lining up with every Tyrant, so it's basically a minute cooldown. Felguard, you may be holding it for the Nether Portal. I haven't tested too much, so you may have to hold this, but you know, we'll see. But for the most part, it hasn't changed too much. You know, well, we're taking Inner Demons now just because it summons an imp, and that imp can be an imp gang boss. There's going to be some fucking gang wars going on here. There's going to be so many gang bosses out. It's pretty nuts. This talent's great, and it's even better in AoE. So let me just get up AoE build here. Right, so the main kind of changes from single target, we're not running Felguard, we're not running Vile Fiend, mostly because, you know, Tyrant doesn't scale off the HP, and we're not running Reign of Tyranny anyway. So it's not the end of the world. We're mostly focusing on dogs once again, and implosion with in-gang boss. Because now, if you have a so 30% of all of your imps theoretically are going to be in-gang bosses. So when you chuck in an implosion, let's say you got, I don't know, 9 imps, or no, okay, let's use the example of 10 imps. There should be 3 of those. You'll instantly get 3 imps back, so you can just implode straight away again rather than having to build. But I mean, you can get lucky and you can send in a 9 imp implosion, and you've still got 6 left, so you can just go bam bam 2 implosions back to back, and it's insane. Implosion's been buffed as well, and in the most recent dungeon that I ran, implosion was actually on par with the Dreadbite damage from Dreadstalkers, so this thing's really fucking slapping. So at the end, oh yeah, so we take reduced cooldown on Felstorm. It's just a nice one to have. your Fellstorm's doing a lot of damage. I think looking at about 15% of the damage overall in the dungeon, especially because you got demonic strength as well, which counts towards that. Right, so the bottom, we don't take nether portal. It doesn't feel great in dungeons. It's not an option. We want to be going down this way. So we take this, obviously, juice up our Felguard. I know it also juices up Soul Strike. We're not taking Soul Strike. This is my personal opinion. Soul Strike feels clunky as fuck to play with. I don't like it. It's a 10-second cooldown, so you're having to press it quite a lot, quite regularly. It's on the GCD. It only generates a Soul Shard, so it kind of feels like you're casting a Shadow Bolt, which doesn't feel great. Like instant cast Steamer Bolt, that generates 2 Soul Shards. That feels good, but then having to press this just to generate a Soul Shard. I know it does a bit of damage. It's not. You're looking at like 3 to 4% of your overall damage, if that. It's a clunky ability. I don't like it. I hope it doesn't get buffed. I hope it stays the way it is. Not that great, so I don't want to play with it. It just doesn't flow very well with the spec, in my personal opinion. So we've got new ability Guillotine. This has been buffed recently. It doesn't do huge damage, but it does buff the Felguard. So it's not an amazing ability, but you know it's an extra AoE ability. You chuck it down, it does some decent damage. This ability though has been very juiced, is very pog with the new kind of implosion in-gang boss and this. So you're imploding a lot more. So that's what triggers it, even when they expire or die. And generally, if you're in AoE and you're imploding, the imps are dying before they expire. So you know you have more uptime with this buff, and this buff stays up a lot. So this is it's very high uptime, very nice ability. Yeah, so that's basically my take of Demonology coming into Dragonflight at the start. You know, with current tuning, demo's looking very strong. It's going to be fucking pumping. Alright, anyway, cheers for watching the video, guys. I'm LB. If you enjoyed it, chuck us a comment down below, give us a like, and subscribe. Cheers, guys.